Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik from Figured Out Productions. The following video is a video of some kind, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and welcome to PlayLoad. This is a good chunk of my video game pickups for the month of November 2019. I say that because I was in Japan for a good amount of time, and very little of that trip is on this table. Most of it you'll see in a completely separate video, because why not? Japanese pickups videos are so much fun. So this is just kind of the rest of that stuff. Now, it's worth noting that while I was in Japan, I had definitive, arrival dates and departure dates. However, my time in the majority of that was kind of my own. I mean, there were very specific things I needed to do, but there was a lot of downtime. And it's just a matter of coincidence. I have a buddy who lives in that region, and I say region because not that country. He actually lives in South Korea. But he was down in Guam. Guam is awesome. If you've never been there, you should go if you ever get the chance. It's that romanticized idea everybody has of Hawaii. Hawaii's not like that, but Guam is like that. It's awesome. It's an American territory, so it's straight up U.S. soil. And that's significant because he was in Guam for work, and then he found out our schedules were going to sync, and he's like, hey man, you want to come down to Guam? I'll fly you down and put you up. And I was like, that's a deal. So I went ahead and I went down to Guam in the middle of a different trip, if that makes any sense. I travel too much probably. But that's going to be relevant because it results in certain pickups. The first thing I got here was Death Stranding for PS4. This is one of the last remnants of my Gamers Club Unlocked membership over at Best Buy. So for those who don't remember, there was a time where you could sign up for this program at Best Buy called Gamers Club Unlocked. It was like $30 and it would cover you for 2 years, and what you got was 20% off of every single game. Insane. So a $60 game like this, only $48 day one. So what I did was, when I knew mine was expiring, I just kind of pre-ordered everything that was even available that was remotely interesting to me, with the assumption that I would cancel anything I really wasn't interested in. In a lot of cases, I've totally forgotten about it, which is my bad. But in this case, I still wanted to get the game. Now, I haven't actually been able to play this yet. It's been kind of infamous, the reception of this game. But to be honest, it sounds like something I'd probably enjoy. So we'll see when I actually get to it. But I have not played it at all, so I can't pass judgment on whether or not it's actually good or not. But regardless, it's a big game, and it was promoted everywhere. Like, whether it's mainland US, Guam, Japan, like, it was a big deal. So yeah, either way, looking forward to checking that out. Next up, I got a couple of Xbox One releases. I didn't really do much with the whole Black Friday thing this year because I spent a bunch of money on, stuff in Japan, as well as just a few random items, and obviously this other big game that came out that was kind of a significant deal to me. So I didn't really participate in Black Friday this year, this being kind of a little bit of a lone exception. Well, there's kind of two exceptions, but the other one's very technical. This one was like GameFly was having a sale, and theirs was like the early Black Friday sale, and I had a coupon that went with it. So for that, I got Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered for Xbox One. I got this for like a few bucks. And it also comes with Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation. So not something I super needed to have, but it's cool to be able to kind of upgrade from the 360 version. So there you go. And then the other thing I got for the Xbox One, which actually was cool, and there's a reason I brought up Guam, was for this. This is Ghostbusters, the video game remastered. I actually bought this in Guam. That's significant because in Guam, as one would imagine, Guam's not a particularly big island. And even though it's American, a lot of American stuff, while there's a lot of stuff that isn't. So when it comes to video games, there's not much competition on the island. There's only 2 places to buy video games. There was 3. There was a retro video game store, but it has since shut down. So the only other 2 options are literally 2 GameStops. There's 2 GameStops on that island. That is the only place to buy video games, short of, ordering them online. Which, whatever. I don't like GameStop, but I will say the GameStops on Guam don't suck, which is unique, because for GameStop, that's unusual. They always suck. But on Guam, they're actually good, and they're good for a few reasons. One is, and this is just a coincidence, Guam doesn't have sales tax, so yay, you don't have to pay that. But also, they actually have stuff in stock, and like, if you have a problem with an order or a pickup or something like that, it's weird. They actually don't give you any crap about it. They actually just solve your problem for you. It's strange. Like when we were there, my buddy had bought a collector's edition for the Switch, and it was supposed to have like a Switch plastic case in it, and they accidentally left that out. So we went back to go pick up that case, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have it anymore. Tell you what, just here, take a brand new one." They just gave him like a collector's edition, like brand new set, just to solve the problem. It's like, those guys don't suck. They're actually good at their job. It's ridiculous. Guam, the GameStops there are awesome. So where we're going with that is, I bought this there. This is actually a GameStop exclusive, Ghostbusters, the video game remastered, physically on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, only at GameStop, at least within the United States. But I'm not going to say this game's like super hard to find or whatever. If you went to a bunch of GameStops, you wouldn't find it. I'm not saying that. It wouldn't be the easiest. But in Guam, there's not much competition. So it's like, I go in to get the GameStop exclusive, and it's there. I just get it. So, for those reasons, kind of combined, GameStop in Guam is good. So, happy to get that. Plus, this game itself is actually fantastic, and it's so weird to think this game's 10 years old. But whatever. Now, I mentioned my buddy Fox. He is a huge Switch collector. He's the one I was just talking about with that story about picking that thing up. But because he's so into the Switch, he's also decided to like make his own like custom cases for it. He really wants to protect it, and he just upgraded a new case. So he gave me his previous one, which is this thing. This is not actually a Nintendo Switch case. This is like, I think it's like a toolbox or something. Like, it's intense. But he like retrofitted it with some foam inserts specifically shaped for the Switch. And you can put it in there and all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, man, with this thing in there, you can take the Switch and chuck it off a building and it would be fine. So it's like, all right. I don't think I'm going to expose my Switch to anything that destructive. But still, Fox, thank you very much for doing that. That was very nice of you. But along those lines, with the Nintendo Switch, I got some Switch games. The first one, much like Death Stranding, is just a Best Buy holdover. This is Luigi's Mansion 3. I haven't had time to even open this thing yet. But I loved the first game. If you never played it, it was on GameCube. It's like a Resident Evil game for kids. And I say that in a really positive way. Like, it is a good game for adults as well. It's just it doesn't take itself nearly as seriously as Resident Evil does. Not that Resident Evil's kind of campy, but you know what I mean. It's fun. Fun for the whole... Resident Evil for the whole family. But yeah, so I never played the second one because I didn't really care about playing it on 3DS. But this one I really wanted to check out, and I will. Yeah, I pre-ordered this a long time ago at Best Buy with that condition, so it was nice, 20% off. And now it has shown up, so when I get the chance, I will eventually play it. The rest of these Switch games, like I said, Fox is super into the Switch, and he like buys like every Switch game, but that can result in oddities, like if it's some sort of limited run games thing or whatever. Sometimes a game, you'll try to put in your cart and you'll accidentally screw up and hit 2, and he doesn't want to cancel the order because he doesn't want to lose a spot, so it's like, okay, screw it, I bought 2. So these are like spillover from that, as I understand it. He just gave me the extra copies because he didn't have anything to do with them. This is Horizon Chase Turbo, which I think this game was a big deal for like a minute on the PS4, because supposedly for a little bit there you could only get a physical release in like Brazil or something, but now that's not a problem anymore. I hear it's also actually a pretty decent game. Peach Ball, which this is a Japanese copy. I remember him saying specifically about this, that this actually ended up getting a Western release, so he got that. And he just gave me the Japanese copy. This is Redeemed Enhanced Edition. I remember him saying something about this being a cool like brawler type of game, but that's really all I remember. And then finally, some collector's edition of a game called Panty Party Limited Edition. I think I'm supposed to feel bad that I have this, but I don't, because I'm not really interested in cartoon characters like in that way. But either way, it's still very cool, and it's an East Asia Soft Company thing. So I think this probably was a Play Asia physical exclusive, is my guess, and probably accidental spillover in his cart. That sounded unintentionally dirty. I didn't mean it that way. But he also hooked me up with a couple of other things because he knows I'm super into the Dreamcast. Now, he gets sent down to Japan a lot, but he gets sent to a lot of more obscure parts of Japan, and I say obscure from the tourist perspective. Specifically, he goes to Okinawa. A lot of Americans are in Okinawa, but they're usually military-based. I've never been to Okinawa, but he goes there a lot. And he found these in a hard-off, and he's just like, oh, I have to get those. These are special VMUs. This is a military camo VMU. And this is the Carbine, I think, VMU, or Carbon Fiber VMU. I forget exactly which. Either way, very cool limited edition VMUs. And they have their caps on, which was a big deal. So thank you very much for doing that. If you're not aware, back in the day, Sega in Japan put out a whole bunch of these weird different controllers and colors, colored controllers and VMUs and things like that for the Dreamcast. But mostly they only did them through Sega Direct, which was kind of like Club Nintendo back then. So finding them in the wild is not an easy thing to do. I found some of the controllers over the years, but that's about it. But he found these, and he hooked me up, so thank you very much. And now, moving on, thank you, Fox. I got a package earlier this month, and when I came back and I just opened it up, I was like, what the hell is this? No recollection of this, and then eventually I was like, oh, right, yes, okay. This is a new Sega Genesis game called Xenocrisis. I saw a whole bunch of people in like Facebook feeds like playing this. Like they had got their Genesis copy and they're like, yeah, my Kickstarter copy came in, and I kept thinking like, that sounds kind of familiar. Did I back that? I don't know if I backed that. And then I never like got around to looking it up. But it turns out I did back it because eventually it showed up. So there you go. Xeno Crisis for the Sega Genesis. It also came with a music CD. Haven't had a chance to really play it or look at it. The artwork is nice and it looks like a solid cart. I believe that I would be in the credits then if I did a backing of it. So that's cool. And it's also got that tab on it. So it's actually presumably region free to work on the Japanese and European Mega Drives as well as the Sega Genesis. So cool to see a new release like that. Now interesting because it actually says on the bottom it's 2018 Bitmap Bureau, but the game came out this year, so I don't know, they must have done that part of it a while back, or that's whatever. But either way, cool to have a brand new Sega Genesis game. Moving on, I got a package here from my buddy Kyle. I've talked about Kyle in the past. Kyle is an awesome guy. I've known him for quite a few years now. He's been one of the biggest supporters of my channel in terms of like helping me with tech upgrades. And when I say that, I don't mean like knowledge. I mean like he literally gets stuff for me sometimes. So like he bought me my current television. He bought me a FrameMeister. Like the dude is amazingly cool to me and he has no reason to do that. And I keep telling him like you don't have to do stuff like that. But every once in a while just things show up. So we were having a conversation. He was asking me about how to like set something up in his house. And I was like, I would do this and that. And he was like, okay, cool. And then I come back from the trip and this is here. And I know this is from him because I was like trying to investigate. And long story short, I figured out it was him. But I haven't opened it yet. So I'm going to show you what it is. And we'll take a look together. We got box A and box B. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Yeah, so these are... let me double check. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what these are. He also got me my box cutter, which I forgot to bring out for this video. Because that was a joke for a long time until he couldn't take it anymore and he decided to get me one. Okay, there we go. Yes, this is exactly what I thought it was. Yes, okay, this is an HDMI switch. So what we were talking about on the phone was he was looking to try and figure out how to connect all of his consoles to a television at the same time using basically one or two ports when he had way more consoles than that. That's basically what I do. My goal is to have everything running ultimately to HDMI and then through a series of HDMI switches to a master HDMI switch through an M Classic to the television. The idea being I can turn on any console and it just automatically shows up on the television and gets all the enhancements of the M Classic, and hopefully there's no lag or any sort of issues like that, but I don't have to constantly unplug and replug wires in. I basically have that infrastructure set up. The problem was that one of my HDMI switches was dying or is dead now. And unfortunately, it had like 5 ports on it, whereas these much better ones only have 4 ports. So I think for that reason, he got me 2. So thank you very much, Kyle, for hooking me up with some HDMI switches so I can go back in and fix that infrastructure. So that's very cool of you. I actually recommend these a lot. These are ones by Zetagard. I don't know if this is the older model or the newer model. The older model was actually the better one because it also disabled HDCP coding, which meant you could, if you really wanted to, you could capture PS3 footage straight off without HDCP interference. You could capture things like Netflix or Disney Plus, presumably, TiVo, all that stuff, because this thing just disables it, or at least the old model does. I don't know if this is the newer or the older, but either way, I have one of the old ones, and when I have that at the end of the line, if you plug anything into it after that point, yay, no HDCP coding. So either way, and they actually like, work, which is cool. So thank you, Kyle. That was really cool of you. Now moving on, we're kind of getting into the obvious territory here. There was a little game that came out. You possibly heard of it. I've been talking about it for a minute. Shenmue 3. We now live in a world where Shenmue 3 exists. It's real. It's come out. I've been playing it. At the time I'm recording this, I haven't actually finished the game yet. I'm taking my time with it. But, oh, it's wonderful. I'm loving it. I'll get back to that at some point. I want to do like a bigger video talking about my thoughts and also talking about all the additions of the game and that type of thing. But not surprisingly, Shenmue 3 is a large part of why I was in Japan for this previous trip. There was a couple of times in which I needed to be there, so that's really how that kind of functioned. The first and biggest event for that was a thing called Magic Kyoto. Magic Kyoto is a conference or a convention run by Cedric Biscay, who's actually the producer of the game. He's also the guy, I think it was the first company to get on board with Shenmue 3's Shibuya Productions. He runs this convention. There's one in Kyoto, there's one in Monaco. I've never been to the Monaco one. I know some people that have. But yeah, so cool thing. The idea was basically just, it's a free event to the public. Come in and celebrate some aspect of Japanese culture surrounded by some sort of creator that's there to represent it. So in this case, Yu Suzuki was one of the guests, and so you can go and celebrate Shenmue 3, which was about to launch at that time. And then you could, meet him and sign autographs, take photos, all that kind of stuff. Well, I've met the man like 8 times, so that's wasn't significant for me. I mean, it's cool, but it's not really why I'm there. I was actually, in addition, I was basically media for it, so I have, my badge here and everything. I was press. But it had some cool perks because, once again, just get to hang out with a bunch of people that I know and get to chat and all that stuff, and get some stuff signed. One of them is this thing, which is the plastic fan that I've been talking about for a while, and I hope you guys submit your entries while you still can, because I promise you there's going to be people after the fact that are like, well, I never knew. Here's the thing. I've got a bunch of these plastic Shenmue 3 fans. This is like, I think, the second piece of Shenmue 3 merch ever produced. The only thing earlier was a t-shirt from Magic Monaco. This is the second thing ever. These were made by Deep Silver. These are officially licensed pieces of merch, but they only existed at one place, which was Japan Expo in Paris this summer. And they would give these out to people who would walk by. You'd get like one fan. And there's just something about Japan Expo, like all the booths just give out fans of stuff. So this existed solely to promote the game at that particular event. And so I talked to the people at Deep Silver, and they were cool enough to give me a bunch of these things. And what I've been doing with them is I've been going around the world to various places and getting them autographed by various people involved with Shenmue 3. At this point in time, this is signed by Liesl Wilkerson, who voiced Joy in Shenmue 3, Corey Marshall, who's the English voice actor of Ryo Hazuki, Katana Marshall, who's his daughter, who voices various characters, Cedric Biscay, who I just mentioned, who's the producer of the game, Masaya Matsukaze, who's the Japanese voice actor of Ryo, and Yu Suzuki himself, the creator of the game. It will also be signed by other various cast members of the English voice cast, as well as the voice director, at least that's the plan, at the upcoming event in Burbank, which I'll talk more about in a bit. But the thing is, this isn't for me. This is for you. Like, I did this for Shenmue fans. Fans for fans. So if you want to win one, I don't have a ton of them. I've got a few. And the idea I've been going for is I want you guys to submit to both me and to the Shenmue 500K what Shenmue means to you. Some sort of artistic expression. And I did a whole video detailing exactly what you got to do, but it's like comically simple to enter. So I invite a lot of you, try it. Just make a video, talk about it, draw a picture, whatever it is, try. And you could win this thing signed by so many amazing people involved in the resurrection of my favorite franchise of all time. So, yeah, that's up to you. But it's a thing. Now, next up, I also, while I was there, he just signed this from this is Yu Suzuki. He knows my name now, which is cool. But yeah, he just signed a thing for me just to do it, which was cool of him to do. Now, did all that stuff, went down to Guam, came back, and back to Japan, and I had arranged a meeting with Masaya Matsukaze through a third party. Masaya Matsukaze, as I said, is the Japanese voice actor of Ryo, but that's really the only context I kind of knew him in, although I've come to learn he's actually like really a surprisingly popular actor in Japan. He was an actor in a Godzilla movie. He is a former Power Ranger, and he voices a ton of anime characters and stuff like that. So over there, he's like super popular. And here I am being like, hey, I want to meet up with you and have you sign a whole bunch of Shenmue stuff, which to him is like, he knows he did it. It's obviously like it was the earliest point in his career, really. But at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, Shenmue, that was a thing. So like, he doesn't get known for that very much, especially in Japan, because Shenmue is not very popular there. Not that it's super popular here, but at least here there's a chance, you know what I'm saying? Myself and a couple other guys, one of them being Phantom Riverstone, aka Switch, aka probably doesn't want me to say his real name, and another dude who probably wouldn't want me to say his name, so I won't say it. The three of us were invited as formal guests to an event that he was partaking in. It was like some anime event that not at all our arena, like at all, whatsoever, zero. But it was really a surreal experience because we go into this place and what we came to understand is that there was just tons of people lined up, and all of them had like pre-ordered their tickets and they were standing in line all day, and like this was a big thing for them. What they were going to go ultimately do is go inside and like watch an episode of this show, I guess early, and then see the actors on stage talk about it and all that kind of stuff. Like that's what they were there for. And they all paid to do that, whereas us, we knew nothing about this, but we were all given like media VIP badges right here and just whisked to the front of the line, whisked into our own special section. You can just sit here, and then after the thing's over, they come and get us and take us in the back, and we meet this guy who all those people would have loved to meet, but for some reason we get to talk Shenmue, which is not at all what this thing is for. It was a very strange experience, and it felt like this is unfair to these people, but it's just, it was cool, but really all I was there for was just to get this stuff signed, take some photos to help with this effort, and, you know, just chat some Shenmue, and that was pretty much all we did. But yeah, so it was cool to be able to do that. Not that, I mean, I guess this is the merch from that event, but that, you know, whatever. Either way, cool. Now when I got back here, I actually got a small little gift bag from Sega. They actually sent me something, I guess, to celebrate Shenmue 3, so I want to thank them very much for that. Very surprising, because I really wasn't expecting this. This is specifically from the Sega Mobile division, and they sent me this. This is a little, like, internal piece of merchandise that they have around the office, I guess, and it's basically just a pin set. Now, I'm not really a pin guy, so I was a little, like, thrown off at first, especially for Sega Heroes, because this is a big mobile game that they have right now that I admit I've never played. The only thing I knew about it is it had a whole bunch of various Sega characters in it, and it included some of the Shenmue characters, specifically Ryo and Shenhua. So anyway, I'm opening it up and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, I think that's from Phantasy Star. I think that's House of the Dead. Oh, it's Altered Beast. And then I go, oh, it's Ryo! So then it made sense all of a sudden. I was like, ah, okay. And then underneath there was actually a few extra Ryo pins. So I'm going to be doing some sort of giveaway for those as well. Those are extraordinarily exclusive items because they, I guess, were only internal for Sega Europe to promote a mobile game. So I don't know what that competition or contest or giveaway, whatever it's going to be, is just yet, but stay tuned, we'll come up with it. But either way, I want to thank Sega very much for sending me that, as well as this, you know, little piece of, like, a little pamphlet type of thing, kind of saying, like, hey, this is for Sega Heroes. So thank you very much to them. Now, oh boy, here it is, Shenmue 3 in all of its glory. Yes, I have a couple of copies, just a couple. And there's actually more copies coming. So I've decided what I'm going to do here is, rather than, like, sit here and talk about each one for a while, I'm going to do a specific video about Shenmue 3, like, once I have all the copies and once the game's kind of digested more for me. So I'm just going to give you, like, a basic rundown on some inversions we have here. And I've saved this for last because I know not everybody cares about Shenmue. But this is the copy that I've been playing. I believe this is the Amazon edition, which came with some DLC. And it was also $10 cheaper to pre-order for some reason. So that's the Amazon edition. Then we have the GameStop edition, which, again, is exactly the same. The only thing that's different about it is that it came with this little coin thing. And this is why I hate GameStop. Guam GameStop's the exception of them. The standard ones really suck. So, like, I'm gonna tell the micro version of this, but basically I went in to get my pre-order, even though they never told me it was ready or anything like that. I go in to pick up the game, and then they pull out the game, and they're like, okay, here's, you know, how much it is, and I'm like, where's that little coin thing? Because, like, I'll be honest, that's the only reason I pre-ordered it. And they're like, oh, we don't have any more. Do you really care? I'm like, yeah, that's the only reason I pre-ordered it. What was the point of pre-ordering it if you don't have the little coin thing? And then, so I wasn't being all shitty about it. I was just like, seriously, dude? Like, that's why I'm here. And then the manager guy's like, you really need the coin thing? And I was like, yeah, man, like, that's the only reason. And he's like, look, I got one. This one was actually mine. Is it really that important to you? I'm like, look, if you don't want to give it to me, that's your choice, but then I'm not going to buy the game. I don't have a reason to. I already own the game, and I only came here for this. And he was like, all right, fine. So I guess I'm supposed to feel guilty for having this, but newsflash, I don't. And then I also got the Best Buy edition. This is the other Black Friday type of thing. This was one of the best Black Friday deals, like, ever. Best Buy had this game, which is a $6 game, plus this $20 Steelbook case. You could get all this for $35 on Black Friday. So I did that. Actually pre-ordered it and got it that way, and then just returned it and rebought it, because why not save $30 on that, basically. And also, if you want the whole Shenmue trilogy, I tweeted about this, they're selling the 1 and 2 edition for PS4 for $15. So you can get all 3 games for less than $50, well, plus tax, unless you're in Guam, or Oregon, Alaska, or Delaware. But those states aside, yeah, you can get the whole, you can basically just get it for $50, which is cool. Then, of course, I got the Kickstarter edition, which, hey, what do you know, I supported that, which came with that infamous Kickstarter case. I'm with everyone on this, where the case itself is lame, but I'm not mad about it, only because I understand that my money wasn't meant to get me as a new customer. My money went into making the game happen in the first place. So I look at it as, like, yes, it sucks that for me that this case is bad, but at the same time, I get the game because of my contribution, and that makes me feel a lot better. So I got 2 copies of that, and I kept the box that came in because it says Shenmue 3 on it, because whatever, super nerd. And then I have a Japanese copy of the game, which I picked up while I was in Japan. I was actually in Yokosuka the day it came out. This copy was purchased in Yokosuka, along with 2 other copies that are going to be given away. The Yokosuka copies, which if that sentimental value is worth anything to you, one of them you can enter right now. There's a tweet in the description. Go to that. Follow me on Twitter and retweet that tweet, and you're entered to win. You can thank a company called Go Collect for funding that. Also, the second copy will be at the Burbank event in Burbank, right outside of Los Angeles. For details on that, basically December 7th, we're going to do a post-launch Shenmue 3 event for fans. It's free to go. I will be the MC of the event, and like almost the entire, if not the entire English voice cast is going to be there, plus the voice director. You can meet them. Take photos, they'll sign autographs, there's going to be a Q&A, all that kind of fun stuff, free to go. Check it out. We're also giving away a lot of cool stuff. One of these plastic fans will be given away there. One copy of this will be given away there. Also, I've got some mutant versions of this. This is a little piece of paper I picked up in Japan. It's just a pre-order slip for Shenmue 3. And I thought, oh, that'd be cool, I'll keep one. I actually grabbed a few of these, and what I ultimately did with it is when we met Masaya Matsukaze, I just kind of got the idea on the spot. I was like, would you sign a bunch of these? And he was like, yeah, sure. So he signed a bunch of them, and we'll be giving those away as well. So you'll have a Japanese autographed Shenmue 3 thing, and if you want, I guess we could have other actors there sign it. That'll be kind of to be determined on the spot. And then the last thing I got here is the limited run games edition of Shenmue 3, the collector's set, along with the limited run games card. Long story short, this is the same as the European set, except for one key difference, which is it has that commemorative Dreamcast case in it that shows both what it would have looked like artwork-wise to be on the American version of Shenmue 3 or Japanese. There's no PAL artwork for it, but it's a reversible artwork case, so very cool. I actually went down to a limited run games event in North Carolina just after I got back from Japan, like literally the next day, and they had just a couple of these left in stock. I bought this, I pre-ordered, I got it online, but yeah, it was cool to see it in person. That was actually the first time I had seen it, so yeah, very cool. So this is not even all the versions of Shenmue 3, this is all the ones I have at the moment. Obviously, I'm going to try to get all the rest because I'm a super fan, or an obsessive fan, however you want to look at it, but either way, I'm going for it. Yeah, so that's kind of it for the pickups for now. Stay tuned because there will be a bunch of Japanese stuff. If you guys could please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, I super appreciate it. Thank you to everybody involved in the existence of Shenmue 3. There's not enough words to say that, but still thank you to everybody who was involved with that. Thank you to my buddy Fox, thank you to Kyle, and thank you to just you guys for watching. I super appreciate it. Oh, and thanks to the guys at Sega too for sending me that stuff. So thank you very much, and I'll see you all later.